Welcome to the Brothers Comicsov.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna try not to rub my hands like a fucking mantis through the whole thing. Hi everyone, Nick Rock Lobster here. And
Mantis.
This is not mantis. I know I was doing the Mr. Burns the entire last episode. It was irritating. So this is the Brothers Comicsov. I'm Nick Rock Lobster, and I'm joined by my brother
Eddie, not Rock Lobster.
Eddie, not Lobster.
I mean, I'm still Eddie Rock, but not
Right.
Lobster.
No,
Yeah.
I'm Lobster. You're not Lobster.
Works for me.
Don't forget it. Today, we're doing... I'm already doing it again, goddamn.
You are.
Today, we're doing my choice, which I'm sure Eddie was super stoked about. And we're talking...
Before we get to that,
yeah.
Hopefully everybody... I know we had some audio issues last time with my audio. Hopefully that is fixed for this time. So let us know in the comments if that's better or not. And, you know, we batch edit these a little bit and batch record these a little bit. So there may be a couple episodes till we get caught up with it if it needs to be fixed, but we'll take care of it.
I find it adorable that you think people are going to comment, watch it, let alone comment on it.
Listen, we have to treat this like it's going to be successful. If we don't treat it like it's going to be successful, it won't be.
I have edited fucking 10 episodes of Scurvy Dogs, and I'm getting like 10 views an episode.
I'm not saying...
I'm still going.
I'm not saying you're not working your ass off for it. I'm just saying that now that I'm actually a part of this one...
Oh,
and by the way, it would be
is.
11 viewers on Scurvy Dogs, but...
Yeah, right. I was going to say it was just like my book, but you actually read my book.
Plug for your book. Plushie Pals by Nick Rock. You can find it on Amazon.
Thank you. That's nice. And we have to keep recording
audio. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get back to that because that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it.
Absolutely. And if, you know, this doesn't make it big, then maybe I'll have some kind of a career with voice acting because you're having me do all the little parts.
Yeah.
Because you forgot that the book was written in first person.
We don't need to get into all the details.
Listen, Eddie, you can play the lead in this. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, wait. First person, so I'm just going to read fucking everything. And then you can, like, play the police chief or some shit.
Yeah, if you're talking about it getting big and you being a part of things and this and that, maybe put your phone on fucking vibrate while we're recording.
Okay, I'm sorry that people love me, okay? I'm putting it on vibrate.
Amateur hour.
Amateur hour.
I'm doing this again. Okay. Hi, everybody. So this was my choice. And I picked, going into this, I knew nothing about the book except that it's really popular right now. So hot right now. It's called Department of Truth, even though my screen is backwards for reasons I don't understand. Department of Truth, Volume 1, The End of the World. I am in a few comic book groups on Facebook, like selling and trading groups or whatever, and everybody's talking about Department of Truth. It's this, another one called Something is Killing the Children, which is really big, which I'll probably have us do a Volume 1 if there is a Volume 1 at some point. And I see Stray Dogs talked about a lot.
Yeah. I see about a lot.
Those seem to be kind of the big books right now. And so I wanted to give this a shot, knowing nothing about it.
Why it's big right now.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean... I can kind of guess your point of view on it, but maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't know. But it's going into it, not even knowing the plot, once I realized what it is, I was like, fucking, this is my jam. Because it's a department of the government. Maybe it's the government. We don't really know. You want to give it a shot? Kind of summing up what it is.
So the best way it was able to convey it to me, and I know it's definitely not going to be the same for everybody, but was I only probably related to this because I watched so much Supernatural. But when they described it as a tulpa,
Tulpas. Yeah.
once they said tulpa, which is basically something that is created, manifests when there is enough belief behind a concept, a figure, a creature, and of course in Supernatural, where I know it from, it's from a monster that's get created basically because everybody believed in it, and so that's very much what this is. So when it said tulpa, I'm like, okay, I know where they're going with this.
But what I found interesting, and it was from Supernatural, so not too many brownie points, but I'm proud of you for knowing Tulpa. Tulpa's one of those kind
That
of
is so condescending.
side things that you probably wouldn't know about, as far as like cryptids and conspiracy and shit
Okay,
like that.
no, okay. Fuck
Not
you.
Okay. Fair.
No,
I'm
I
just
know my
saying
shit.
you're not into the wiggity shit a lot of the time.
I'm perfectly into wiggity shit.
Are you?
I just don't make it my personality.
Wow. Cutting deep. Cutting
I'm
deep.
not cutting anywhere.
But what I thought was cool was it's like a tulpa, but on a global scale. Like, with people believing in conspiracy theories enough, it will literally change the fabric of history and reality based on those belief systems. And I'm like, you're speaking my language. I loved it.
Yeah, and especially I can understand why it's especially popular right now because in the last couple of years a lot of conspiracy
Yeah.
theories and that kind of things have come up, and it's obviously a very political book.
Yeah, sure.
So it really,
Well,
I can
kind of.
understand why it absolutely is.
I mean, it's political to an extent, but to me, it doesn't feel like it necessarily takes a side. It seems like it tries to take a side of truth, but we live in like a post-truth society right now. Like, it is literally whoever yells the loudest is what's true. And I think that that's kind of what the book is getting at. It's not necessarily going one way or the other. It's just saying this is what we're dealing with.
In the way that it's presented, yes, I mostly agree with you on that. Obviously, it starts off feeling very one way rather than the other way.
Right.
But they do, of course, try to even it out a little bit as far as showing, that both sides are quote unquote guilty of it. But at the same time, I believe you can tell exactly what side these people are on when they're writing it.
I would say it definitely falls on the liberal side of the left side of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's hard to argue, but being of that lean, it doesn't bother me too much. But
Oh no, it didn't bother me at all, as I'm very much on that side as well.
Right,
But
right.
it would I you know what, you should probably go ahead and go first.
okay. Well, going through the plot, so it follows a guy named Cole Turner, who is, I don't want to do a beat by beat, but he's basically conscripted into this organization.
Oh, Men in Black.
Yeah, pretty Men in Black like. And you start to learn things about his history that has a lot to do with the satanic panic of the late 80s, early 90s. They talk about the McMartin preschool trial, which, I mean, it's my bread and butter. I've read books on this shit. And you're learning his kind of role in that and how it's hinted as to why he was brought in. There's also this woman in red that you see in the first part of the book. And I've already read volume 2, so I'm gonna hop in a little bit. But she's obviously a representation of the Scarlet Woman that Aleister Crowley and Jack Parsons were trying to summon, along with L. Ron Hubbard, who is supposed to give birth to the Antichrist that brings about the end of the world. They get into a lot of chaos magic, thelemic magic, the power of the will and belief and the strength of the collective unconscious and what that can do to society. But yeah, a lot of out there concepts, but that's my jam. So personally, narratively speaking, I have never read a comic that was so catered to my personal interests and tastes more than this comic was. And it was nice going into it not knowing anything about it and being like, ooh, this was tailor-made for my ass. So narratively, I fucking love it. Love it up and down.
Yeah, as I was reading it, I was, the more I read it, the more I was like, this is absolutely a Nick book. And I absolutely understand why it's a Nick book and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And it is a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
It is remarkably well written. There are elements to me that come off as very pretentious.
Okay. What elements? Just out of curiosity. Because I'm genuinely interested. Because as I was reading it, I'm like, this is absolutely a Nick book. This is not an Eddie book. And I'm just interested what you found pretentious about it. Not arguing at all that there are pretentious elements to it.
It feels like a lot of it is choosing to be shocking for the sake of being shocking, and part of it is, it comes across as, look how clever I can be.
Shocking for the sake of shocking, are you referring to the baby eating?
There's the baby eating, yeah.
Okay.
There's the baby eating, and then there's just like, they go into, I know they're basing it all, not all, but a lot of it off of real things,
shit,
you know what I mean? But to go into, and I guess I get it, you're stretching out each one of these like little ideas that they have, you know what I mean? Like they got so graphic with the woman who is going crazy because of her son that was supposedly killed,
dying in the mass shooting, and I thought that was brilliant, but I get.
But there were small things that they did that were very much like, basically I could see the strings that they were pulling on me. Were they successfully pulling my strings doing this? Absolutely, but I could see the strings.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
That's fair,
and that's what I mean by coming off as pretentious.
Okay.
That being said, like I said, I absolutely loved it. I found, and we'll get into this more later, I found the characters interesting. Again, it was all really well done, and the idea is very well and new. It's not a bad book. It's a very good book. It's just not my usual taste.
Right.
And also, as much as I am on the one side of things as far as politically goes, I typically choose not to indulge myself in like political stuff as downtime,
as entertainment.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
as entertainment. There's enough of that I already have to be faced with on a day-to-day basis. I'm not trying to bury my head in the sand, but I also don't want to have to think about that kind of shit in my downtime when I'm trying to relax or be entertained or anything like that. And that is a lot of it's so heavy with that it's hard to relax while enjoying it.
I do have a question when it comes to that. Do you feel, I'm trying to think of a way to word it. Do you feel something that tackles issues, like real issues that are a fucking issue today, do you feel that those are more valid as art than, say, something like The Tick? Like, The Tick is great. I love The Tick. There's nothing against The Tick. But The Tick's not dealing with important social issues as art. You know what I mean? Because this feels like a book of... I would call this art. Because it is dealing with heady concepts and important concepts, I think, in today's society. And I just feel it feels more important, but then at the same time, that goes back to your pretension comment. That it kind of feels pretentious because it is important.
I don't know if it's because it feels important, but as far as whether or not it is more art, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Do I feel it as currently more stronger art and with the stronger message and the heaviness behind it? Because absolutely it does have that heavy message to it, and I'm all for that. I'm not sitting here denying that it wasn't a heavy message and didn't do its job. It wasn't good at doing what it does, because it was, and it was beautiful for it. I argue with it being more art simply because it is not as timeless.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
It
speaks to us really strongly in a current social environment.
Sure.
But 20 years ago, it might not have done the same thing. And 20 years from now, it will probably not do the same thing.
That's fair.
So is it stronger now? Yes. But it is going to be weaker later, while other forms of art, like The Tick, is consistent.
That's fair. That's a completely fair point.
I don't feel like art is more art because it is
relevant in the here and
trendy. Yes, exactly.
Right.
In the current minutia. Wait. Have you seen my Batman glass?
I haven't. This
is my Batman Forever glassware.
Ooh.
See, Batman on one side, and it's got the cool like Riddler symbol on the other. Currently drinking it with this delicious holiday alcoholic eggnog. It's Dutch eggnog, something like that. It's fucking delicious.
The way to be. It's how we should do this. I am disappointingly sober for this episode.
I got a set of these from Jared for Christmas one year.
Also, side note, last episode, I looked really fucking high. And I don't know why, because I wasn't. But, like, I looked like I was stoned out of my gourd.
You really did. I did a little bit, because I was high.
Right.
And that's going to be a pretty common motif.
No, I encourage it. I'm just saying, like, last episode, I wasn't in the slightest, but I was like, the whole fucking time.
Yeah, you were like...
Yeah, I'm... It's fucking great.
You look like a fucking naked mole rat.
Anyways, so back to it. You were saying some characters were particularly interesting. Is that... I
found the characters cool. Like, I dug tinfoil hat guy interesting.
Yeah,
obviously, I'm intrigued by characters like the woman in red or the star-faced man. And obviously Martin something, I forget.
Guy. Barker, the black hat guy?
The black hat leader, yeah.
Yeah.
He's interesting, you know what I mean? I thought it was cool that the character is just, you know, they're just casually like, yeah, his husband's back home, and they don't, you know, they don't focus on the gay thing, but it's just commonplace. And it's
wasn't a thing.
I love how natural it feels. They didn't make it a thing. They could have so easily made it a thing, and you know, added on to that whole, ooh, look at how trendy and hip we are because we're making him, you know, gay, and it's like, no, you just put it as a casual
he's
thing.
just gay.
And I thought that was really well done. There are other characters that kind of fell flat for me. For example, Cole himself fell very flat for me.
Yeah, he's a little...
Same with his partner.
Ruby.
Yeah,
he's a little bit of an everyman. And I know we're talking about Volume 1. In Volume 2, he gets a little better. There's another character that I again, not wanting to go off on Volume 2, it does get a little less on the political side and a little more on the magical thought side.
Which is cool. That's the element of it that I really liked. I get why they did it the way they did it, and I get why they used what they used, and it was brilliantly done. I'm more interested in the supernatural side of things.
So now that we've talked about the story and the characters a little bit, artwork.
See, that's where I was talking about where I was going to want to come back to. Because this is very much in the style that I was talking about last episode that I don't care for.
And I'm going to be a total hypocrite because I agreed with you, but I really liked the art in this. Even though last episode I was saying this is exactly the kind of thing I don't like, there's something about like the construction of it that I really enjoyed. I liked the kind of there are a couple of particular splash pages. The kind of Terry Gilliam-esque cutouts that were used. I liked it in this. I normally don't like that style, but for some reason in this it really struck a chord with me.
And that is not to say that the artwork is not great, because the artwork is great. I absolutely dig that artwork style, but it is so key in telling the story that you are trying to read that it infringes on my ability to properly narrate that story as I read it. You know what I mean? And it makes it very difficult. So, for example, there's not a ton of detail in this artwork. So a lot of the characters started to very much blend together, and I started to not be able to tell at the beginning who was who and who was talking, and just goes, oh, it's great. He's wearing a brown jacket now, so I have no idea which one is which unless they say the name, because there's no detail to any of the characters. And with the way that it's fragmented a lot of the time and the panels are laid out, is good for the most part, but it's also elements of it are hard to follow because I don't know where I'm supposed to read next, as opposed to like, am I supposed to go down on this page? No? Okay, I guess I'm supposed to go up here because that makes more sense. And
I agree with that completely. Aside from me really enjoying the artwork in this context, there were times that I'm like, wait, do I read up here? Do I read down here? I appreciate your creativity, but it also has to work. My eye has to go to the right place.
Is this a two-panel splash page, you know what I mean? Or not. And there's no way to tell with the way that the artwork is set up sometimes.
Right. I did have that same issue.
Because it's so unique and artistic and trying to be artistic, you never know which way it's supposed to go, because honestly with artwork like that it could go either way, and that takes me so out of it.
Yeah, it does suffer from that a little bit. I'll agree with that completely. But yeah, again, usually this kind of shit would bug me. I would find it obnoxious and pretentious, and maybe it is a little obnoxious and pretentious, but the whole thing is a little obnoxious and pretentious, and that's kind of the point, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it worked.
And it does it very well.
Yeah.
It works. It does work. Absolutely. Like I said, it's brilliant.
Were there...
Not my taste, not my style, but it is brilliant.
Well, and that's what I liked you saying, that it was brilliant and that you thought it was extremely well written, because honestly, I think these are probably the best comics I've read since Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Like, I put it on that level for me. Because I remember reading Alan Moore's Swamp Thing and being like, this is the greatest fucking shit I've ever read. And this is the best shit I've read since then. Of course, a lot of that has to do with my taste, so...
Yeah. I came up with a good metaphor for it earlier. It's for me, this is one of those movies that's nominated for Best Picture that I'm never going to see.
Right.
It is brilliant, but I am not going to watch it because I have no interest in it, no matter how good it is.
To me, like, I think the best comparison I can think of, knowing your tastes and stuff, and I'm not necessarily saying the book itself is, it's like David Lynch. You appreciate David Lynch for what he is, and you know that he's good, but it's just not your bag. You're not going to go out of your way to watch Blue Velvet or Mulholland Drive or something like that.
Exactly.
You appreciate it, and you're like, yeah, I'm sure it's great, but it's just not your bag.
And when you combine that with the artwork that I have, that I just got done saying is not my style. So not only is the storyline not my style, but the artwork is not my style. Despite the fact that I recognize the brilliance and beauty in both of them, they're not my style. So therefore, while I obviously did not hate reading this, I very much enjoyed reading this. Mm-hmm. But it's not something that I'm going to go back and read, not because of its quality, just because of my personal taste in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so first let's move on to who would you cast?
Okay.
Pick a role. Not everybody. Pick a role.
Oh, I already had 3. I had Cole, I had Ruby, and I had Lee. For Cole, I was picturing Evan Peters.
I like that.
For Ruby, I was picturing Kiki Palmer. And for Lee, I part of me really wanted to say Gary Oldman because I would find it funny that he played Lee Harvey Oswald in Oliver Stone's JFK, and now he's playing it in this. But my real answer is Alan Arkin for Lee.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to go with Martin, the Black Hat leader.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think, and it's just a fun for me, and I think that it would actually pull off very well because I think it's underrated as a dramatic actor. I think I picture Stephen Root.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun.
I think Stephen Root can come off as creepy, can come off as genuinely intimidating.
Yeah,
if you wanna
for
get
sure.
in that role, and I think that I almost heard his voice as I was reading the character.
I really like that. I hadn't even considered that. That wouldn't have been the role I thought to cast either. I like that you went a different avenue than me.
Yeah, it was just an
yeah.
interesting one that popped out to me because he kept popping up around there. You know what I mean? So, or the other one would be the woman in red. I would see somebody like Eva Green,
Okay.
or
yeah.
maybe Kristen Ritter.
Kristen Ritter would be a good one for
Yeah,
the
I think
lady,
Kristen
for
Ritter
the
would
red
be good
lady.
for the red lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And I was gonna say Starface Man, but I think the knee-jerk answer to that is Doug Jones.
Yeah, of course.
But then I was thinking the guy, I don't know his first name. I know his last name is Billette, but he played the leper in It Chapter 1. He's very big and like thin and lanky, and
Okay.
but also I don't know if you could go a traditional casting with the
I don't
Starface
think
Man.
you could, no, because it's not that's not really acting, you know what I mean?
It would
It's
have to be
acting, but
some sort of animation, I would think.
I would think so, yeah, with maybe some kind of a voice actor over it, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Or at least
Yeah.
from what we've seen, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I like your Evan Peters one. Your Evan Peters one is really cool.
I thought that was a good choice. I thought
is
that
a
was
really
good.
choice. Yeah, I like that quite a bit.
Oh shit, we did shit out of order. We're supposed to do VIP first. VIP.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
VIP.
I guess that's true. Cause
No, but you're right. You're right, though. VIP, for me, the VIP was probably Lee.
okay.
I was most interested with the character of Lee whenever he was on the screen. Everything he was saying was the most interesting to me. The way he presented things, the way he looked, the origin of the character. I thought that, in his position, I thought that he was the most interesting character to me.
Okay. I mean, my VIP, I think, is Starface Man. I find that character very interesting, and having read and learned a lot about the Satanic Panic, and specifically, they even mention the McMartin's preschool case in this book, and that's clearly what Cole's whole deal is based on. So I found that particular character interesting, and learning a little bit more from Volume 2 kind of strengthens that, because you kind of learn a little bit more about what his deal is.
Yeah, because he's not overly present. He pops up one or two times, but not really to do much.
Yeah.
across this first book.
I just kind of felt he to me is like the smoke monster in Lost. Like he's always in the background. He's always on the periphery.
Yeah.
And then when he pops in, it's like, oh shit, this is a thing that we have to deal with now.
That's fair. Between him and the woman in red and Martin, I think that makes a very interesting cadre of bad guys. Nice.
But that might be a wrap on it. I don't know if this is going to be a short episode or not, because it's hard with something like this, because something with Hush, we're able to talk about the entire Batman mythos. something like this, we don't have that unless we start talking legit about Alex Jones and fucking Trumpers and QAnon and shit like that.
I don't particularly want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
This is a hard one to go off on tangents on because of the source matter, source material. You know what I mean? So it's understandable that this one might be a little bit shorter because there's less for us to work with.
Yeah, unless we legit went down like conspiracy theory rabbit holes, there's not much else we can talk about except for what the story kind of is, the characters, the art, which we did.
Yeah, so next week will be my pick, and so I am going to, it's one that I've been wanting to read forever. I can't believe I haven't read it yet, and especially with the Netflix series that came out that I'm told was exceptional, I'm going to have to go with Sandman, first volume, Preludes and Nocturnes.
I'm excited too.
I'm excited too, and honestly, the thing that had put me off of it for so long was the artwork, but it's...
I knew it wasn't Gaiman, because Gaiman is a fucking boss.
Yeah, so looking forward to doing that next time.
Dopeness.
Do you gotta sign off yet?
I don't. The last one just cut off with me making fun of you.
That was not cool. That was totally taken out of context. Out of context.
It was a good laugh.
I don't like you editing. I don't like that my internet persona is defined and edited by you.